They hunt with eagles, wear their life on their heads, and vanish into the jungle. These tribes aren't myths, they're real. High in the misty hills of northern Thailand, there's a tribe that you can spot from miles away. Not because of their houses or rituals, but because of their headgear. The Aka women wear some of the most visually stunning and deeply symbolic headdresses in the world. They're not just decorations. These elaborate creations tell the entire story of a woman's life, her age, her status, even whether she's married or has children. The headdress starts simple when a girl is young. As she grows older, it evolves with her, collecting silver coins, beads, colored threads, bells, and tiny charms, many of which are inherited through generations. Each piece added over time represents something, whether it's a rite of passage, a family event, or a personal achievement. Some women wear their entire family history on their heads, quite literally. A full headdress can weigh over 5 pounds and take hours to assemble every morning. But the beauty doesn't stop at the head. The Aka are also known for their rich embroidery, vibrant woven clothing, and layers of jewelry. They make nearly everything by hand, often sitting in circles chatting and crafting, while the village hums with activity around them. Their traditional outfits are passed down or remade again and again, maintaining styles that haven't changed in hundreds of years. What makes the Aka even more fascinating is how self-sufficient and isolated many of their villages still are. They live in wooden homes raised on stilts, surrounded by steep green mountains. Their daily lives revolve around farming, foraging, and sharing. Electricity and running water are rare. Instead of clocks and deadlines, they follow the rhythms of nature. Planting when the clouds change, harvesting when the wind shifts. Despite pressure from modernization and tourism, the Aka have held tight to their identity. Younger generations still learn to weave, dance, and sing the same songs their ancestors did, and every major event from the birth of a child to the start of a harvest is still marked by traditional ceremonies that bring the entire community together. In the highlands of Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador, where the air is thin and the mountains scrape the sky, live the Quechua people, descendants of the great Inca civilization. They still speak Quechua, the language once spoken in the palaces of Machu Picchu. But their daily life today is far from ancient ruins or tourism. It's grounded in hard work, extreme terrain, and traditions that have barely changed in centuries. What sets the Quechua apart is their connection to altitude. Their villages sit at over 11,000 feet, where corn grows small, and llamas outnumber cars. Every morning men and women trek up steep paths to tend to their terraced farms. These terraces, carved into cliffs like green steps, are an engineering marvel from Inca times, and they still work perfectly. The clothing worn by the Quechua is both practical and stunning. Women wear layered skirts, colorful shawls, and round hats, each region with its own unique twist. Many still dye their wool with natural pigments made from insects and plants. Their textiles aren't just for warmth, they're maps, calendars, and family records woven into patterns that only locals can truly read. What's even more fascinating? Their view of the world. Mountains aren't just land, they're living spirits. Rivers are protectors. Festivals often include masked dances, firecrackers, and music played on handmade flutes and drums. These aren't performances, they're part of survival, a way to keep balance with nature in one of the most demanding places on Earth. And just when you think the Andes hold all the surprises, the rainforest opens up a different kind of story entirely. Deep in the Brazilian Amazon, far from roads and signals, lives a tribe that doesn't eat red meat, not because of health trends, but because of belief. The Anawen Nawi are one of the only indigenous groups in the region who are entirely pescatarian, relying mostly on fish and forest food. But how they catch that fish is what makes them unforgettable. Every year, they build massive wooden dams across rivers, structures made entirely by hand, without nails or modern tools. These aren't simple traps. They stretch across flowing water like giant xylophones, guiding fish into chambers where they're caught during a month-long ritual called the Quua. It's not just about survival, it's a sacred event that involves singing, dancing, and sharing with forest spirits. The Anawen Nawi men wear striking feathered headdresses, face paint made from charcoal and red seeds, and bone ornaments through their noses. During ceremonies, they perform hypnotic dances, circling fires for hours, their chants echoing through the forest like something out of a forgotten world. What also makes them stand out is their balance with nature. They don't overfish or farm aggressively. Instead, they shift with the seasons, following patterns passed down verbally through generations. Their homes are long, wide structures shared by many families, and storytelling is a nightly event. Tourists won't stumble across the Anawen Nawi. Their land is protected, and they rarely allow outsiders in. That's what makes glimpses of their culture so rare and so powerful. They've built an entire world with their own rules, and they've managed to keep it standing, untouched by highways or Wi-Fi. Far above the Arctic Circle, where daylight disappears for weeks in winter and reindeer outnumber people, live the Sami. Spread across Norway, Sweden, Finland, and parts of Russia, they're often called Europe's last indigenous nomads. But their way of life is anything but ancient folklore. It's very much alive. The heart of Sami culture is tied to reindeer herding. Families move with their herds across frozen landscapes, using snowmobiles now where sleds once did the job. Each animal is marked, tracked, and treated with deep respect. In fact, the reindeer isn't just food or income. It's at the center of identity, spirituality, and tradition. Sami clothing is designed for survival and storytelling. Their bright wool garments, called gakti, reveal which region or even family someone belongs to. Intricate silver jewelry and patterned belts complete the look. And in colder months, you'll still find people wearing handmade boots lined with reindeer fur, tough enough to handle deep snow and icy winds. Then there's yoik, a haunting form of singing that doesn't follow typical lyrics or structure. It's not about telling a story with words. It's about capturing the feeling of a person, a place, or a moment. It might sound strange at first, but in the still Arctic silence, a joik feels like it connects directly to the land itself. Despite modernization, the Sami have kept their traditions going strong. Some herd with GPS now, some run reindeer races on frozen lakes, and some campaign to protect their ancestral land from mining and construction. What makes them so unique is this mix of adaptation and resistance. They're not trying to stay stuck in time, they're shaping the future on their own terms. Step into the rainforest of Cameroon and the Republic of the Congo, and you'll hear something before you see it. Singing that blends with bird calls, the sound of laughter echoing under thick canopy. That's the world of the Baka, a forest-dwelling tribe often called pygmies due to their short stature, though what makes them truly unique has nothing to do with height. The Baka live in one of the world's densest rainforests, and they move through it like it's a second skin. They can identify hundreds of plants by sight and smell, track animals silently through thick undergrowth, and gather honey from wild hives dozens of feet above the ground, all without maps or tools. They've passed this knowledge down through stories, songs, and hands-on training for generations. Music plays a huge role in Baka life. Their polyphonic singing, where multiple people create overlapping rhythms with only their voices, has fascinated researchers for decades. It's not just entertainment. These songs are used to teach children, communicate during hunts, and even celebrate the forest itself. Their homes are simple dome-shaped huts made from leaves and branches, built in just a few hours but sturdy enough to withstand rainstorms. Community matters more than possessions. Everything is shared, from meals to child-rearing. Decisions are made together, and arguments are settled through calm discussion rather than conflict. What truly sets the Baka apart is how tuned in they are to their environment. They don't dominate nature, they move with it, listen to it, and rely on it. In a world chasing speed and technology, the Baka remind us there's still a rhythm to life that can't be downloaded or bought. Hidden deep in the dense forests of eastern Paraguay is a tribe that, until just decades ago, hunted like people did thousands of years ago. The Ache lived entirely off the land, using bows and arrows, moving constantly, and sharing everything they caught. They didn't build permanent villages or farm. Instead, they tracked animals on foot through thick brush, hunted silently, and moved as soon as resources ran low. It was pure survival, and it worked for generations. What made the Ache particularly fascinating to scientists was just how close their way of life was to prehistoric humans. They hunted in small groups, communicated mostly through gestures while stalking prey, and relied on collective decision-making. Everyone in the group, men, women, and even children, had a role. Game was shared evenly, no one hoarded food, and injuries were treated using forest remedies passed down by memory, not books. Their lifestyle was studied closely in the 20th century by anthropologists, and what they found was remarkable. The Ache had an incredible understanding of their environment. They knew which trees held edible fruits during the dry season, where to find wild honey, and how to silently shadow a monkey through the canopy for hours. Their endurance was jaw-dropping, running for miles without stopping, carrying heavy loads back to camp without complaint. Today, most Ake no longer live this nomadic lifestyle. Many have settled in small communities or moved closer to towns, but their traditions haven't vanished. Elders still teach tracking and archery. Ceremonies, dances, and oral histories still play a major part in their lives. They hold tightly to their identity, and their past still echoes through every story told under the trees. On the sweeping, windswept plains of western Mongolia, there's a tradition that looks like something from an epic film, but it's entirely real. The Kazak eagle hunters, known locally as Berkuchi, ride horses with massive golden eagles perched on their arms. These birds aren't pets. They're partners, trained to hunt foxes, rabbits, and even wolves. What's even more surprising, some of the most skilled hunters today are teenage girls. Traditionally a male role, eagle hunting has seen a revival among young women who are just as fearless, skilled, and respected as their male counterparts. Dressed in thick furs and colorful embroidered robes, these girls gallop across frozen steppes with eagles bigger than their own torsos swooping down at their command. Training an eagle is no easy task. Hunters climb into cliffside nests to find chicks, raise them from a young age, and build trust slowly through months of daily interaction. The bond between eagle and human is personal and powerful. After several years, the eagle is released back into the wild, a rare example of a hunting tradition built on respect and balance. Their lifestyle is just as unique. Kazakh eagle hunters live in felt-covered yurts that can be packed up and moved with the seasons. They rely on herding, hunting, and craftsmanship to survive in a region where temperatures regularly drop below zero. Every fall they gather for the Eagle Festival, a mix of competition and celebration that includes racing, archery, and of course eagle displays that leave jaws on the ground. What sets the Kazakh hunters apart is more than their birds or gear. It's the survival of a culture in a remote, frozen corner of the world where modern life hasn't drowned out ancient skill. Few places on Earth still honor such a wild partnership between human and predator, and even fewer where girls are rising as its fiercest champions. In the heart of the Ituri rainforest in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, lives one of the most elusive and least understood tribes on Earth, the Embuti. These forest-dwelling people are among the shortest populations in the world, averaging just over 4 feet tall. But what truly makes them remarkable is how deeply their lives are woven into the rhythm of the jungle. The Embuti don't just live in the forest, they are part of it. Their shelters are made from leaves and branches, built in clusters where families sleep close together. They move often, following seasonal patterns of fruit, honey, and wild game. They don't farm, they don't raise livestock. They hunt with nets, gather edible plants, and trade with neighboring villages when needed. Every sound in the forest means something to them. A bird call, a branch snapping, the buzz of insects. It's a kind of knowledge you can't learn from books, only through life spent under the canopy. Now, there are reports of a highly isolated group, possibly related to the Embuti, living deeper in untouched regions of the forest. The rare photos circulating online show individuals with incredibly distinct features, which some believe could be the result of genetic adaptation over generations in complete seclusion. Scientists haven't been able to fully study this group, but locals speak of them as a separate population, known to appear briefly before vanishing back into the trees. Whether these sightings are of an unknown subgroup or simply another layer of the Embuti's mystery, one thing is clear. This tribe remains one of the most enigmatic cultures on the planet. Few outsiders have ever lived among them, and fewer still truly understand how they survive in one of the most complex ecosystems on Earth, without maps, without machines, just knowledge passed through whispers and footsteps in the forest. In the rugged canyons of northern Mexico, there's a group of people who can run 100 miles without stopping. No fancy shoes, no water bottles clipped to belts, just sandals made from old tires and a pace as steady as the wind. These are the Tarahumara, or as they call themselves, the Raaramorei, meaning those who run fast. Running isn't a sport for them, it's part of life. In fact, some villages are spaced so far apart that running is the only way to stay connected. They run to hunt, to visit, to race, and sometimes even just to celebrate. Children start early, joining in long-distance games where balls are kicked ahead and chased for miles. Adults can keep going from dawn till dusk, crossing jagged trails and vertical cliffs like it's nothing. What makes their endurance so unique is how naturally it blends into their lifestyle. Their diet is simple, mostly corn, beans, and chia seeds, and their clothing is loose and light. No training schedules, no GPS watches, just instinct, community, and purpose. When Raaramorei runners compete in ultramarathons, they often surprise the world by placing among the top, even though they've never trained like professional athletes. The Tarahumara live in caves, stone huts, and remote cliffside settlements across the Copper Canyon, one of the most isolated regions in North America. Their spiritual beliefs are closely tied to nature, and many of their rituals involve dancing, storytelling, and drinking a fermented corn brew during community gatherings that can last for days. In a world obsessed with speed, records, and performance gear, the Raaramorei quietly remind us what real endurance looks like: natural, calm, and centuries old. Tucked deep within northern Mongolia's taiga forests lives a tribe so remote, only a few hundred of them remain. The Soten, or Duka people, are one of the last groups on Earth to herd reindeer not for meat, but for companionship, milk, and transport. Their bond with these animals is unlike anything else. It's not just survival, it's connection. The Soten move across the forest in small camps, following the seasons. Their homes are conical tents made from canvas and felt, similar to yurts, but built for quick setup and travel. The reindeer stay close, even sleeping near the tents, almost like family members. Children grow up riding them like horses. The herders can whistle and the animals respond, knowing their place within the group. This tribe lives without electricity, running water, or paved roads. Food is gathered, hunted, or carried in by reindeer. In freezing winters, when temperatures drop well below zero, they keep warm using layers of handmade wool and firewood collected from the forest. Shamanism remains a strong force in Soten life. They believe in forest spirits, animal guardians, and healing rituals passed down from elders. Visitors often speak of a deep calm in their camps, where time slows, voices are quiet, and nature is a constant presence. But life is changing fast. Climate shifts, restrictions on movement, and modernization are putting pressure on this ancient lifestyle. Young Soten sometimes leave for cities, and herding grows more difficult each year. Still, those who remain carry one of the world's rarest ways of life, where humans and animals move together as one. In the vast, sun-blasted deserts of southern Africa, the San people have lived for tens of thousands of years, making them one of the oldest continuous cultures on Earth. Often called Bushmen, they are expert trackers, hunters, and storytellers, living proof that knowledge passed from generation to generation can outlast empires. The San are masters of reading the land. A broken twig, a faint footprint, a disturbed grain of sand, all are clues in a language they read fluently. Their hunting methods rely on patience. They can follow an animal for days, moving quietly, barely seen, until the moment is right. But their tools aren't high-tech. Their bows are small, and their arrows are tipped with natural poison derived from beetles and plants. They don't waste anything they catch. Every part of the animal is used, and the hunt is followed by a dance and a story that weaves it into memory. San homes are simple huts or open-air shelters made from branches and grass. Water is stored in ostrich eggs buried underground. Food comes from digging roots, cracking open nuts, and catching small game. What makes this lifestyle special isn't its simplicity, it's its sustainability. For millennia, they've thrived in one of the harshest environments on Earth without damaging it. Their click language is unlike any other, full of sharp, percussive sounds that echo across the desert. Their rock paintings, still visible on canyon walls, speak of animals, spirits, and ancient hunts. And when they dance around a fire, the whole tribe joins in, a moment that feels older than time. They may be quiet in the global conversation, but the San are living libraries of survival, community, and deep respect for the land. Along the foggy coasts and dense forests of southeastern Alaska, the Tlingit people have carved out a world that speaks through wood, color, and tradition. Their villages sit close to the water's edge, where ocean tides shape daily life, and towering totem poles stand guard like ancient storytellers. Each pole isn't just art, it's a family tree, a history book, and a cultural declaration all in one. The Tlingit society is structured around clans, large family groups tied to animal ancestors like the raven, eagle, or wolf. A person's clan determines their role in the community, who they can marry, and how they participate in ceremonies. It's an identity that goes far beyond a last name. Totem poles are raised to honor these clans, often in front of homes or community halls. The carvings can be bold and intimidating, but they're not meant to scare, they're meant to be remembered. Tlingit homes are large wooden structures built from massive cedar logs, insulated against Alaska's cold and damp climate. Inside, families gather to share stories, cook fish over open fires, and pass down knowledge that isn't written but spoken and lived. Their craftsmanship is extraordinary. Everything from canoes to ceremonial masks is hand-carved, painted with deep reds, blacks and blues that symbolize life, power and mystery. Even today, many Tlingit continue to practice their customs while blending them with modern life. Their connection to land, sea and spirit remains unshaken, and their identity is carved deeply, not just in wood, but in every part of how they live. High in Colombia's Sierra Nevada mountains, hidden above the clouds, live the Kogi, a tribe that sees themselves not as isolated, but as guardians of the world. They call themselves the Elder Brothers, and believe it's their duty to protect nature from the harm caused by the rest of us, the Younger Brothers. Their villages are tucked deep into steep valleys reachable only by foot. They build circular huts from earth and palm, speak their own language, and follow a spiritual code passed down through centuries. At the center of their world are the Mamas, spiritual leaders raised from birth in darkness, away from distraction, to gain deep wisdom about the earth and its balance. The Kogi live simply. They grow their own food, spin cotton for clothes, and carry everything in hand-woven bags slung across their shoulders. But their thinking is anything but simple. They believe every mountain, river, tree, and animal has a soul. They don't just see nature, they talk to it, consult it, and listen. What makes the Kogi truly stand out is how purposefully they've stayed out of the modern world. For years they avoided cameras, roads, and visitors. Only recently have they started speaking out, warning that deforestation, mining, and pollution are breaking the world's natural order. Their message isn't loud or angry. It's calm, steady, and rooted in a view of the planet few others still hold. They see things most people don't, and maybe in listening to them, we begin to understand a little more of what we've forgotten. That's about it. Which tribe surprised you the most? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.